Jazz and Beyond,
where the standards are always hot
and the mood's just right.
On 702
and CapeTalk.
Jazz and Beyond on CapeTalk and 702, where you come for the jazz and you stay for a good time. And a good time will not be had if you do not assist. As you know that the fires out in Cape Town, and the Cape Town city officials and firefighters are battling the fire out at Tokai Mountain fire across several fronts. And they are requesting you to please help. And this is how you can help. You can drop off water, eye drops and energy drops at the Lakeside Fire Station, and they're requesting you to please keep off the roads where possible so that the emergency vehicles can get through. Just do listen to CapeTalk and 702 for updates. EWN, of course, will be keeping you informed, and just visit our social pages for more information. So let's support our firefighters and stay safe with CapeTalk and 702. It is the second hour of Jazz and Beyond, and a special tribute on this Freedom Day. And I'd like to play a voice note that just came in. I think it just represents what today is about. And it's a voice note from Ike, who sent it from Rhodoport.
Nothemba, good evening to you and to your listeners. Beautiful music, South Africa. I really love those past generations. Their legacy still continues. Generation of Brashu, generation of Vusi Khumalo, generation of Andile Yenana, and now we have Bokani Daya and all those magnificent artists. Thank you for South African jazz. Ike in Rhodoport.
Ike, I think it's Ike Pasha. That voice sounds very familiar. But thank you so much, Bra Ike, for being part of this celebration of jazz. And we're celebrating it by taking a look at the life of Kippie Moeketsi, who, by the way, on this day in 1983, he passed away on this day, on the 27th of April. And we're paying tribute to him by telling his story through the voice of Hamilton Dlamini, who graciously helped us. And I also just want to thank the people who have supported in me putting this information together, especially the music. And that's Chris Alberton of Matsuli Music and Electric Jive fame. And he gave us a very comprehensive Kippie Moeketsi discography. And he has some rare archives as well with interviews. I don't know if you remember Ian Bruce Huntley, the now late photographer. He had conversations about his relationship and encounters with Kippie Moeketsi. And thanks to Gwen Ansell, who's an art activist, jazz journalist, and author. Don't know if she liked those titles from me, but she's been very helpful as well for me in collecting some of this information. So I did find this story of Kippie Moeketsi, and Hamilton Dlamini is going to do the voice. And he has played with many musicians and a number of groups, and some of the early days, in fact, from 1948, I think, to 1959, he played with the Manhattan Brothers. And this is what they sounded like back then. Dubula Mfanandi. The Manhattan Brothers with Kippie Moeketsi, Dubula Mfanandini. He died on this day back in 1983. And as someone said, and that someone is Abdullah Ibrahim, who also was playing with him. He says Kippie could have blossomed into something as great as anything Charlie Parker had already shown. And according to Abdullah Ibrahim, over the years, his sadness, he says, slowly began to lift. And he says Kippie's life was not wasted. How could it be when it was Kippie who gave us everything we know? We have built on what he taught us. And now we'll hear the story of Kippie in his own words, in the voice of Hamilton Dlamini.
The early days of jazz, the Harlem Swing Stars, the Manhattans, the musical King Kong, and the emergence of Zenzi, Miriam, Makeba, and Dollar Brand. You know, in my family, we were music inclined. My brother Jacob is a pianist. He was taught by a white woman. My father played the organ, and my mother would sing hymns. Yeah, the whole family was like that. It is only my sister who was not into music. I took up music when I was at the age of 20 and taught myself to read it. My late brother Andrew used to sing Bo, Ichimama, you know, all those old harmony songs. Every time I saw him, I would ask, hey, can you tell me, man, how do I know the clarinet keyboard? Where must I place my fingers? He would shout at me, I know, man, put your fingers there. Then I would ask again, what is a crochet? He would say, man, you are bothering me. It's a beat. And from there, I had to see to it myself. I had to find out on my own what a crochet was. He left me there. I also read music books. I would say it is the Ortolandi that taught me music. You know, I learned to play the clarinet with a saxophone book. Yeah, it's true, yeah. Yeah, that's how I taught myself music. I can still play the clarinet. I didn't practice how to play the saxophone, I just play it. Yeah, once you know a clarinet, a saxophone, I can do it as a boy. The first group I played with, the band in blues, broke up firstly because I didn't want to play in Denver. In Lapa, no. The other guys like to play at the Jorison Center and other such places. Yeah. In those days, the Tsotsis were rough. Musicians used to get a hiding from now and then. They would say, we were thinking that we are clever and better than them. Sometimes we would play from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the morning, non-stop. Yeah, it was like that. Sometimes the Tsotsis would force us to play right through up to 9 a.m. by force. We played the songs they wanted. I remember one incident in which I managed to escape with my dear life. It was in 48 when we were still playing at the Bantu Men's Social Center. Yeah, Tsotsis came, man. They were about 17, carrying tomahawks, knives, pangas, and chopping everybody in the hall for no reason. After they had finished with the audience, they came onto the stage while we stood there, glued and frightened. They then began chopping up our instruments, and just then we ran for our lives with the thugs in hot pursuit. One of them chased me. He chased me down Von Velak Street. Yeah, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. He shouted at me, hey, when I keep it, call me so young. His name was Seven. Oh, fortunately for me, a police van appeared and the thug disappeared. Yeah? The Tsotsis were attacking us for the fun of it. They were from Alexander Township. I think it was not yet the spoilers. It was before their time. Yeah, musicians used to have a tough time during those days. After the band broke, I joined the Harlem Swing Stars in 1949. We had chaps like Kippie Moeketsi, Skip Pahlane, Temi Pidiso, Randolph Tai Shumang, Norman Martin, yeah, if I'm not wrong, yeah, and Todd Machigeza. Sadly, the majority of the guys are all dead. Yeah, the olden days, you wouldn't play in a band if you could not read music. Unlike today, where you just play. That's why I don't like today's music. I don't say I'm condemning it. I don't say it is backward. In fact, some of today's musicians are good. The trouble with them is that they are too commercial. The talent scout tells them, don't play jazz because the audience don't like it. You understand what I'm trying to say? In those days, big bands didn't make sufficient money. Those days of the best big bands in the country, Jazz Maniacs, Swing Stars, Merry Blackbirds, Rhythm Clouds, and African Hellenics. General Tuze, Boiki Kwele, and Mzala Lepere. I don't know. I don't remember very well who was the drummer at that time. They made a quarter accompanying the Manhattan Brothers. General Tuze said I should come and join them soon after the Swing Stars disbanded. Yeah, I really enjoyed my long stay with the Manhattans, who were the group at the time, as a member of the backing band called Shantytown Sextet. Oh, well, we did find some way or the other without accompaniment. I think money was coming in okay. For me personally. And I got better money as we used to perform regularly all over. Springs, Pretoria, Klerksdorp, Potchefstroom, Nigel, and places like that. Oh, well, we did find some way or the other with our accompaniment. I think the money was coming in okay, for me personally. And I got better money as we used to perform regularly all over. Springs, Pretoria, Klerksdorp, Potchefstroom, Nigel, all those places, We went on playing, and then the late saxophonist Makeba Tavashe joined us, I think in 1951. Then Tavashe later became our leader. I don't remember how. Tambuza Mdledle was also our leader at one time. But when we went to Cape Town, we found ourselves stranded. Yeah. Though the Manhattans were a big name, we left for Langa location in Cape Town, playing to nearly empty halls. At one juncture, people started throwing stones on the roof of the hall while we were playing inside. It was terrible. The people of Langa said we were playing nonsense. Manhattan Brothers and all. They said we were playing the same kind of music the Manhattans always played. They wanted something new.
That is the music of Kippie Moeketsi on Jazz and Beyond. It is taken off an album called Hot Top, previously unreleased in 1975 recordings. And that is really credited it's actually a 2 LP vinyl edition. And it has artwork by Mafangwenya, and it comes from as Shams, the Sun, on the heels of Nothemba Madumo's African Day album, which you've also probably heard in 2024. He was about 50 years old in 1975 when he was part of this recording, and of course, a big South African figurehead. We are paying tribute to him. We are hearing his story through his music and the voice of Hamilton Dlamini. And here's the second part as he continues to tell his story after being with the Manhattans.
During that confusion, Todd Machigiza disappeared from the cast. And that is how we got a replacement on piano, a chap called Dollar Brand from District 6. I don't know how they got Dollar Brand, only Dambuza. He came with Dollar while we were at a hostel staying in Langa, stranded. Dambuza came to me and asked me, "Do you know this guy?" Meaning Dollar. I replied, "Yeah, this guy I know. And I saw him once at Rio Bioscope in Johannesburg, playing a concert with me and Gene Williams, who was leaving for Germany." Dollar was scared. He was scared of us. He was kneeling down, virtually begging us, "Man, I'm telling you, this Dollar Brand." Things do happen, it's true as God, He wore big boots, looking like a Scolignana, so Kane, the chap is a good musician. We took a train, the whole cast, to Port Elizabeth. At that time, nobody was aware that I had a lot of money with me then, because I used to sneak out every night to play at a certain nightclub. The chap who got me this private job is one of the finest guitarists we've ever had, Kenny Just. I got £10 a night, which was quite a lot at that time. And I used to make it a point that the other guys shouldn't know about this. When I ended my stint after a week, Kenny gave me a bottle of whiskey and hotel remnants, chicken, sandwiches, and things of that nature. Yeah, that's also when I started to be a buddy with Dollar. It was in PE that we made a departure in our music. We said, now we are not going to play English music anymore. We are going to play indigenous music, Xhosa, Sesotho, and all that. Who came up with this idea? It was Davashe and Tambuza. You know what was the cause of all this? It is because of the reaction of the audiences in Cape Town, where we didn't have a following. So we got a stoke somehow, or the other, that no man, this English music, people are bored with it. We'll have to change it. Change we did, yeah. We could read and write music, but we're doing it all by ear, quickly. African music is easy, and we didn't bother writing it down. All we did was write down the keys, the melody line, and tune, that's all. Afterwards, we would arrange it in our own way.
Hello, Malume. I think the Tortoise were really enjoying that music. That's why they went on like that. And I hope they were dancing as well, like I jive now. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Jiving for the Tortoise, or the Tortoise were enjoying the music. And of course, this is a response to the story of Kippie Moeketsi. And being told in the voice of Hamilton Dlamini, you're hearing the story of how he met Abdullah Ibrahim. And you're hearing a recording that Dollar Brand, who he was at the time, back in 1973, recorded with Kippie Moeketsi on this track called Brajo from Kilimanjaro. This is also available on the Dollar Brand +3 with Kippie Moeketsi album. It is Jazz and Beyond on 702 and CapeTalk, paying tribute to Kippie Moeketsi, who died on this day back in 1983. We are back with more after this.
Jazz and Beyond.
With Nothemba Madumo
It's where the standards are cool and the conversation is always hot.
on 702.
Absolutely always hot. And as we celebrate Freedom Day, we're also paying tribute to Kippie Moeketsi. And just to remind you about the fires happening in Cape Town, apparently they are really, really hectic. And I'm also going to try and cross over to our EWN reporter, Natalie Malchus, who will just quickly give us an update on the conditions there. But let's go to part 3 of this tribute to Kippie Moeketsi. And this is where he also talks about how Mama Miriam Makeba also just got brought into his life and his musical journey as well.
By the way, this show of ours was named King's Holiday by Tamboza, because we were then living like kings, enjoying life and eating the money. In East London, we played to packed houses for 1.5 months. We stayed in that area for 2 months, having parties every night after the show. We had made about £1,000, which made us feel really good, because the cost of living was still low at that time. Each member got £60 as pocket money. But hey, when we went to Queenstown, none of us had penny on himself. All we had were our train tickets. We had lived up to the name of the show, King's Holiday. Tambuza came with all this idea. I'm telling you, Dollar was still with us. He was a small boy then, light-nyana. We stayed for about a week in Queenstown and spent all the money we had earned and went home broke. I'm telling you, no penny, no provision. Even Dollar also returned to District 6. A week after we arrived from the Cape, we went to play in Springs, and the pay I got there was the first that I was able to give to my mother. Can you believe it? Mzala Lipere played bass, Norman Martin returned to play drums, and General Duze featured on guitar. Tambuza Mdlele, the leader of the Manhattans, one day he said, "Hey, gents, there's a girl who is singing with the Cuban brothers. I don't know how can I remove her from them?" That time, the only female singer with the Cuban brothers was not known. She was nothing. She was just another girl who was trying to sing. How can we get her, gents? She's a good singer. Tapeit said, "I heard her singing at the OCC in Orlando East the other day." And we all said, "Man, no, man, just bribe her with some money. Call her to a corner, talk to her. I'm a private. It does not matter. Even if you give her £1. I don't know how Tambuza solved that. But after a few days, we saw him come with this girl who was singing with the Cuban brothers. Just like that. She had joined the Manhattan Brothers. Her name was Miriam Makeba. And it was with the Manhattans that she began to be noticed. Yeah, to tell the truth, the Manhattans made Miriam famous. Yeah, in those days, the Manhattans and the Ink Sports were the best groups, the groups. When I say Miriam was made famous by Manhattans, I don't mean they taught her to sing. As an individual, Miriam was shy and really scared of us. Oh, she was. Well, the three of us, me, Makeba, and herself, we used to sit down and practice. Sometimes we would tell her how to use her voice, how to improve her vocal cords and all that jazz. And Miriam would listen attentively. Before she became the famous Miriam Makeba she is today, I must admit, I never thought Miriam would become what she is now. Well, what I mean is this. At Orlando Township, while she was with the Cuban brothers, I thought, she'll never make it big. I thought she would never make our standards. We regarded ourselves then as the big shots, the big shots. We thought we were the guys, if you understand what I'm trying to say. I regarded the Cuban brothers and Miriam as small fries. Yeah, let me put it that way. They were not bad, on the other hand, because they in fact started close harmonies in this country based on the American group, the Modernaires. To me, Miriam was just an ordinary girl, a novice. Yeah, was the Owens then, the real guys, thing of that nature. You'll forgive me for my English, if yet. Miriam was not attractive. I mean, curves and all that jazz. I think our first concert with Miriam was somewhere in the East End, singing Negro Spirituals, but still I was not yet impressed. Maybe because I was so influenced by this Negro guy, Charlie Bird Parker. All right. Yeah, we toured the Free State, Cape and Natal with Miriam before the show. Davashe and I would test her vocal cords, advising her here and there, and she would listen. Yeah, because during my school days, I used to be a singer. Yeah, with Doze. We would tap dance. But my teacher, Mr. Ramakopa, liked singing, and he formed the group Low Six. I came with a composition from the Chesa Ramblers band in Germiston. Bosi, Bo Mang Mang, Kenya Ko Germiston, yeah. Their song was Saduva. That later became our closing song in our concerts. Yeah, at 4 a.m. before playing the national anthem, Nkosi Sigelela, we would play Saduva when we'd know it's Chile. Closing time. Yeah, it is this song that Saduva, which really gave Miriam a boost, because at that time, Dolly Ratebe was the #1 girl singer. When Miriam got onto the stage with the Manhattans singing this song, she got the crowds raving. In those days, we dressed smart. Yeah, the guys with suit and boaties, and Miriam Makeba wearing a long evening dress. We played with her for a long time until she left us and joined Alf Albert's African Jazz. She was by now involved romantically with Sunny Pillay, who himself was, he was a good singer.
That is one of Kippie Moeketsi's albums, Jazz in Africa, which came out in 1975. African Day is the name of that track. It is Jazz and Beyond. We're paying tribute to an amazing saxophonist, a legend, an icon, and the father of the saxophone in this country. And while we're doing that, we're also celebrating Freedom Day. We'll go for a break and we'll be right back on Jazz and Beyond. And we will wrap up with part 4 of the Kippie Moeketsi story, as told in the voice of Hamilton Dlamini. Very interesting, humorous guy. and also a very interesting life that he has led.
Jazz and beyond. Jazz and beyond.
On 702 and CapeTalk.
Jazz and Beyond, a special tribute to Kippie Moeketsi, and I'm just looking at the discography of Kippie Moeketsi, one that has been sent to me, which was compiled by Simeon Allen at Flatin National, and it actually starts from back in 1947 when he was with the group Band in Blue. And then in 49, he was with the Harlem Swingsters, as you heard him. In the 50s, the Shantytown Trio. He also had, of course, the Manhattan Sextet. Then there was the Low Six with Shantytown Sextet. There was, what else did he have? Oh, Manhattan Brothers, Dolly Ratebe. Yes, he's got recordings with her. The BBBGBs is another band that he played with, the Jazz Maniacs, that was also in 1956. So many recordings. There's Dorothy Masuka and the Starlight Chorus, Kippie Moeketsi and his Hot Rocks. Then there was the Moonlight Sisters, the Studio Q Band, Kippie Moeketsi and the New Year Swingsters. There's also the album you just heard, Jazz in Africa, that he recorded. And of course, the album just simply called Kippie. There's Kippie Moeketsi with the Marabi Kings, the Jazz Dazzlers. I think I've mentioned that. Well, they did another one this is all just in the 50s. And then, of course, his life in King Kong and performing there. He also has the Jazz Pistols. Now, that is a band. Then we get to hear about it now as we wrap up our conversation in the voice of Hamilton Dlamini. This is Kippie Moeketsi in his own words.
Then came this guy, Spike Glasser, a lecturer in music at the University of Cape Town. Kanti all the time, Tot Machigiza was writing the score for a musical work. He was performing with us. We were playing songs from the musical unawares. And I can remember well how we used to play the very overture from the musical King Kong at the Selborne Hall. We were three then, yeah. It was me, it was Tot Machigiza, General Tuze, and myself, yeah. At variety concerts. Spike Glasser came to us with his wife at Doke House, where we were all introduced. We were told that he was from overseas and all that jazz. We didn't know he was a local guy. You know, Runa Mara, we suffer from this complex that whenever a man is from overseas, he's the end in life. There's nothing better than a man from overseas. Oh, you know, that kind of impression. When a man is from overseas, we admire him. We go around in England. That guy, musically speaking, yeah. The guy was there, if you know what I mean. He came with some musical scores. Ah, man. I was just a scrappy key of a lady then, wearing my Easter bikie and my Hong Kong suit, which was rather too tight on me. All right. People were present there. They were the usual Doke House crowd, you know, Makeba, Yuma Segela, Jonas Kwangwa, and who else? Yeah, I think others like Tot Machigiza and the late clarinetist Kwimkwebi. Then Glasser went away, returned some weeks later and chose me, Davashe, and Saul to assist him to arrange the music of the King Kong show. We sat with Glasser for a couple of months, you know, I think 2 months, if I'm not wrong, arranging the score at Doke. At times, we would go to Glasser's home in Orange Grove or Uval, spend some nights there, or go back home in the early hours of the morning at about 3 o'clock, you know, with a bottle of whiskey. Yeah, this was to keep stimulating us, let me put it that way. First stage rehearsal. Miriam Makeba was one of the leading characters together with Dambuza Mdlele, playing the part of King Kong himself. Really, yeah. I didn't concentrate on the play, which was by Harry Bloom. Klasa Batung Klasa, a jolly guy, not pompous, was the musical director, and Leon Klokman was the director of the whole show. There I began to realize that this girl, Miriam, can sing. I said, I nudged Davashi during one of the rehearsals. Do you hear what I'm hearing, Mac? This girl. So we perform for some time with Miriam. Then, poof, she's now up there. Our opening night of the show at the Vets Great Hall had been fantastic. Oh, God, the reception was wonderful, man. I then realized that, this Miriam Makeba, she's so clever, this cherry. Clar. She recorded the song Low 6, the one she had been singing with the Manhattans. We had some professional jealousy. Okay, we toured the Cape and Natal with the King Kong show. I think in Cape Town we played to mixed audiences. At the Great Hall, I could not see the audience because I was in the orchestra pit. It was not very long after Miriam had left for America. Masegela followed also. Before the show went to London, Abigail Gupega was Miriam's understudy, the script and the music. I went to London a month after the whole cast had left me because I had been hospitalized after an assault. Hey, can you believe it? In London, I had to be auditioned for my previous place in the orchestra. About a month after my arrival in London, something happened to my brain. I became berserk and had to be taken to a mental asylum in London, Ferrera Hospital. I had to leave the King Kong show. A substitute was found. A white guy took my place. I stayed for a month at the hospital. Then one day, one of the doctors took me to a concert in London where pianist Oscar Peterson and trio were playing, including Ella Fitzgerald and her group. I said, the doctor wanted me to find out whether I'm all right because they suspected that I thought too much. Musically, if you understand what I mean. They thought that my liking of music could have been one of the causes of my sudden illness. That made me not to be quite normal. Okay. I went to that concert. Well, that was normal then, But when Oscar Peterson, Ray Brown on bass, and Ed Thigpen on drums started playing there, I felt like standing up and jumping. Things of that nature. The doctor said, sit down, sit, Kippie, sit down. Hey, this Oscar Peterson, Ray Brown and Ed Thigpen, Second off, came Ella Fitzgerald and her group, and the same thing happened. Ella was gone. Gone! With Hep Ellis on guitar and the other guys, one white and two Negroes. I can't remember their names. After the show, I got an autograph from Ella. And from there, the doctor said to me, no, Kippie, I think you're still not all right. You'll have to stay another 2 weeks in the hospital. After the 2 weeks, I was discharged, having been given treatment like electric shock 3 times. Yeah, that thing can make you stupid, man. It makes you to become forgetful. Even now, I'm like that, forgetful. I have this tendency of forgetting things. I can hold a pen and forget where I've put it. But the doctor said, it would do me good. He told me that if one nerve in my brain snapped, I had it and would eventually become insane. If I kept on thinking too much about music, he said electric shock treatment was the best for me. Afterwards, I went to this place. I forget, man. What's the... Newport Hotel. There, I met Jonas Kwangwa and the other cast members of King Kong. By the way, the doctor had told me not to booze, but all the same, I drank, though the doctor had said it. If you drink, you'll die. Those who returned to South Africa with me were Makeba Vashe and Abigail Gupega, while several others remained in London. Now I had to come back home because I could no longer stomach it in London. Well, a week after my arrival, I went to Docking House, where Mr. Ian Bernard began to run his musical shows for some of us there, including the late pianist Gideon Ngumalo. We played at City Hall, Selborne Hall, and some nightclubs here and there. Gideon was just too fantastic. I mean, as a musician, I would say he was born a musician. Though he was much more into classic music, but he was a master. He could read and write music well. He could handle that instrument of his, I remember so clearly now, moments in what I believe was the best small band in the country. Jazz Epistles, featuring Dola Brand on piano, Hugh Masigel on trumpet, Jonas Kwang on trombone, and Makaya Njoko on drums, and me on alto saxophone, I now recall. Scholarly Department, which I composed and recorded on our first album, Jazz Epistles Volume 1. We were playing at a certain nightclub in Johannesburg. No, during a musical break, we were taken to the kitchen to have our meal. We sat down in that kitchen, eating. Then I said, by right, Dollar, this is all nonsense. This idea of us being taken into the kitchen when there's a break, nonsense. Feather said, no, guys, are we kitchen boys? Aren't we here to entertain the people? Aren't we the thing here? Dollar replied in a soft and scolding-like voice. Mani praat die waarheid, opele. There and then I started to think of a song. To remember the kitchen incident, I didn't think in terms of the word scholarly. It was suggested by Dollar. He said, opele, ons kom nou en dan by die kombuis. The scholarly department. And that's how that song was born. Because I said the guys, yes, I should write a song called The Scholarly Department. After discussing this, we immediately called the son of the owner of the nightclub into the kitchen and told him, hey, look here, Pele, it's not good. This thing of you bringing us into the kitchen for our meal, you'd better see that we get our table right there amongst the customers. We are also important in this whole affair, In fact, we are the thing here. And if it were not for us, we are telling you, you'd have no business. But, chaps, my license, he replied. We answered back, your license? Why don't they stop us playing in front of the whites? After that, he went away and set a table for us right amongst the customers. The Jazz Epistles was the best band I've ever played in here in South Africa.